George tightened his grip on the steering wheel as he drove down the highway, the setting sun casting long shadows on the road. His wife, Laura, was dozing in the passenger seat, their daughter asleep in the back after a long and wonderful family vacation. It was supposed to be a peaceful drive home after a perfect trip, but then they came. A pack of motorcyclists roared up behind him, weaving dangerously between cars, their engines growling like wild animals. One of them slapped the side of George's car as they passed, laughing. Another sped ahead, blocking his lane and slowing down. The game had begun. George felt his chest tighten, his heart pounded. He wasn't a man prone to anger, but something inside him snapped. He honked, swerved, and shouted through the windshield, but the motorists only laughed. One of them flicked something at his Cara bottle that shattered against the hood. Laura stirred awake. "George, ignore them," she whispered, sensing the rage bubbling inside him. "It's not worth it." But George couldn't let it go. At the next red light, he slammed the brakes and threw the car into park. He stepped out, fists clenched. "Enough!" he roared. The motorists dismounted, smirks turned into sneers, words turned into shoves, and then fists flew. George fought like a man possessed, rage guiding his every move. He didn't think, he just reacted. Then bang, the gun was in his hand before he realized it. He hadn't even thought about Ida's concealed weapon, something he carried for protection. One shot, then another. The chaos froze. One of the motorists lay on the ground, dead. A dark red pool spread beneath him. But the horror wasn't over. George turned and saw Laura clutching her side, her face twisted in pain. She staggered, then collapsed. His own bullet. He ran to her, cradling her trembling body as she gasped for air. "George," she whispered, blood staining her lips. "Why?" And then she was gone. The sirens came. The flashing lights. The handcuffs. The news reports. The trial. The sentencing. But no punishment could ever compare to the prison George built for himself. Because in one moment of anger, he had lost everything. For years, he replayed that night over and over. The laughter of the motorists, the crack of the gun, Laura's whisper. "Why?" He spoke at schools, at prisons, at churches. He told his story again and again, hoping that maybe, just maybe, his regret could stop someone else from making the same mistake. "Anger is a fire," he would say. "It burns everything in its path. And sometimes, it leaves you with nothing but ashes." Because road rage didn't just take a life that night, it took his soul. And he carried that regret until his last breath.